Asharo was born in 717 on the Great Isle. At age 22, he left his home due to pressure from locals against his family and their lineage. He relocated to the nearest major port, which was Kedar Port. Over the next 30 years, Asharo sought to restore order to the city, which was governed by gangs and criminal syndicates. In 767, Asharo succeeded in seizing majority power over the city from his rivals among the gangs. Foreigners beyond Kedar Port likely saw this rise as just another gang taking power, and waited to see if he would retain his new stature. In 769, King Asharo fell ill. While he initially sought help from his homeland, Balesa would send no aid. In 771, aid was finally found in the form of a healer dispatched from Sanazar. By 773, Asharo was cured of his illness. We're not sure what happens beyond this point yet, but next time that we have Gethra Citizen on, maybe we'll continue his story. Alright. Let me also put in here session YSO 700 to 800. So this way I can use that I will use this always in the title of the segment, so that viewers know when I'll be proceeding with their characters, and then they can try to be available if they would like to continue. We can always just cast a second name on this list as well. But there we go. More info for that. So if we head over to maps now, let's take a look at that for a minute. Here's the map of the known world of Gethra. And we've got a few spots that we can continue adding to here. We had the Great Isle last time. We've got Lomalago and Yerrick recently. So let's add in some places from King Asharo's story. So we know that he sent for aid at Balesa at one point. So that is going to be a city marker. Proper good-sized one. Balesa. Balesa, which is a settlement. So there we are. Drop that in there. Create a marker. And we're also going to want to make a page for Sanazar, which is another major hub of trade and emigration here on the coast of East Radrigar. There we are, Sanazar. Great, another location made. And we can head back to our articles, fill in those pages, get a little bit more detail on there so that as we continue we can add even more detail and keep all these places straight. Let's find another city we can copy from. Balesa, the Great Isle. Let's copy link to that. Year established unknown, current sovereignty unknown. That will get filled in as we continue reading the Lives of Gethra podcast. And find out more about Balesa. I believe we read that Aralim and Mirish were heading there on the Cloud Trader. It's the next stop on their wayward journey along the path. Alright, so we'll add some notes here. Balesa is one of the largest ports in the known world. A major city on the global scale. Balesa's position on the Great Sea is a conduit for trade from lands south of the known world, from Kedar Port, from Starath, and from Sanazar. have some of these locations as well. So Kedar, got that one. We can link that up. We do not have Starath yet, but we do have Sanazar. It's just not properly made yet. There we are. Continuing on. Save that one. Head back to articles. We can copy a link to Belesa. We can drop it in on King Asharo's storyline, of course. Alright, and we can work on Sanazar next. Oops, of course. And it is on Radrigar. Now, we do know something about its sovereignty. It is ruled by the Atmos Septi, our religion, which we worked on yesterday. Here we are. Sanazar is a major city on the global scale, and one of the main ports on the Grey Sea. Its major connections are to Belesa, Sheld, actually, Hyrena first, Sheld, for Nordos. Oops, I guess that should be Norris, that was, and East Point. Belesa, Hyrena, Sheld, Norris, that was. Don't think we have those yet. Well, actually, we might have Hyrena. We do. There we go. Shelled, maybe? Not yet. Alright, we'll get that one published. And now we can copy a link for Sanazar and drop that into a few places as well. So we know that the Atmos Septi are based there. Atmos Septi might be our most detailed article here in here on the World of Gethra wiki. If we take a look at that, we've got their different religious creeds. We've got a little section on their tenets and beliefs as well. We'll need to add in a section on history at some point. We can see how the Atmos Septi were, what role they played at different points in history, because as it notes as well, they've been around for almost a millennia. They're a major world religion at this point in Gethra. But where did that begin, and how soon after the fall of the destructive Orish meteor did they begin to spread their teachings? That's something we will find out here on the stream as we continue our world building. Alright, good. So we did get a location marker in there for Hyrena. I wasn't sure we had. We've got now Norris, that was mentioned. Oops. Well, we'll have to modify that. I noted it as a geographic place instead of a city. Oh, speaking of which, we should add Sanazar onto Radrigar and Belesa onto the Great Isle. Shoot. Advanced tools and options. Special actions. Nope. How can I change the type of this page? Let's see. All right, I think we will delete this and make a new page for it. Location, settlement. RS, that was, is a city. Don't remember having that choice for the others. I'll go ahead and actually say this is a large city. Let's see here. Save changes to that. And let's do that for Belesa as well. Oh, hello. Yeah, well, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so we've got the map. I actually made that in Photoshop. I've done a lot of kind of graphic design on that before. Here I can pull up a more detailed version here. Yes, yeah, I did this in Photoshop. I worked up all these coastlines and stuff. If you actually tune in on other segments of my stream, I've been working on an entire Gethra globe. So I've actually been working on a 3D sphere to map out all the different land masses of Gethra, and we're going to be continuing to world build them at length, and eventually we'll get maps like this one with this level of detail for the entire world of Gethra. I want to make a really detailed setting here for my stories and for anyone who wants to chip in as well. It's the whole project is designed to be interactive with you guys, and also just a resource for you guys if you ever want to come up with some stories of your own in the setting, or use them for your own group or your own stories. Go right ahead. If you scroll down into my About section, you can actually find a link to this wiki that I've been editing right here and follow along. Are you interested at all in taking on the role of one of the historical characters in Gethra? Kind of have my stream set up so that we can have some interaction on that level, and have the viewers actually take on the roles of some of these characters. Oops. I've doubled up on articles here. Sure, yeah, no worries. Enjoy checking it out. If you want me to show any other features on here, just let me know. I can show more of my maps if you want to see that Gethra globe, or you can just stick around. I've got the original Gethra project was a web series that I was writing. So there's a Lives of Gethra website with lots of chapters and stories. I've got them printed off in some books, which are available over on Amazon. And so a lot of the information I'm populating the wiki with right now is from those stories, and I read them on stream as a podcast segment and carry on with that. And we're eventually going to have a lot of that detail in here, and we're also delving back into the history of Gethra. And as I noted earlier, we're also going to go into lands unknown further abroad. All right, to location. Nice, that's really cool. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to kind of merge those lines of storytelling and game interaction and stuff like that. So. All right, so we're going to want to link to Radrigar. Oh, actually, this is technically a different spot. Not sure why it doesn't want me to modify those today. Let's see if we can look at this in the code here. Cool. Are you do you do that over here on Twitch or just with a local friend group? Let's head back to the map as well here. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I have a group of friends that I play with every other Monday night just locally here. We actually connect online right now still. Some of us moved during the pandemic, so it's a longer drive for everyone to meet up now a little bit. So Norse that was right. Can we edit that? Perfect. That links up now as well. Have you ever used World Anvil before? That's the site I'm using here. It's really nice to have, because this kind of map, if I go back to the kind of main page, you can see this is like, users can come right on here and click on these articles and read all of the content right on the map, which is really nice for well, both for my own organization, but also for the players or settings. Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. It's a little more involved here on the trying to make this whole wiki, but it's kind of fun to actually have interaction or sorry, interactable map pins right on the map. All right. Now, where were we next? Adding on some of those locations. So we've got just making sure that we have all the info we want on these locations for now. Yeah, see, now we can add a link here for Norse that was. I should actually put a little bit more detail on that Norse that was page as well. There's some of these cities have been really fleshed out in the Lives of Gethra stories. And I'm trying to keep the kind of spoilers to a minimum, but I want the wiki to still have, some of the cool, unique kind of setting details. So let's head back in and edit that a bit more. Norris that was is a shadow of its former self. A city ever collapsing into the Orish Sea. The wealthy denizens of Norris continue to move uphill every few generations. The Waterfront District is termed the Cobblestone Bog. For half of it is underwater, a swamp of ruins and salt water. It's perhaps a darker kind of city in the Gethra setting. I spoke at one point on my stream, part of the, if you looked on the map there, let me just save this, sorry. There we are, and head over to the map again. This big kind of ring here, it's called the Orish. This is a major meteor that impacted this area of Gethra and altered all of this geography when it impacted. And so this used to be kind of the hub of an empire, And when all of this was destroyed, they rebuilt a city as close as they could as the original location, which is just out on this point of land. But it's continuously, the entire area is still being kind of subverted by this heavy metal deposit that came in the form of a meteor. So it's kind of their entire society is geared around remembering their previous glory, and yet they are unable to mimic it. All right, Low Malago, Sanazar. Cool, we got all our links up now and the map. I think maybe one of the things I should add on is a timeline. We haven't done that on here yet. I'm not sure exactly how it works, so we'll play around with this here. We'll call this major events of the known world. A timeline summing up the memorable historical events of the known world, beginning with the Orish. So we'll start off with the historical entry, the Orish impact. Major events in the known world. So this was 0, 0. This is global significance. And it is, let's see here, what are our options? Celestial, maybe. Disaster, let's make it a disaster. The Orish impact was a major disaster in the form of a meteor impact with Gethra's surface. Some allege magic was the cause, as the coincidental target of the Orish was the warring battlefield. Hi there. So what we're doing here on the stream is a little bit more, I guess I would say maybe a little agnostic. It doesn't really fit in with a particular rule set. There's a couple different ways that we've done it. So I have the Lives of Gethra series, which is kind of a written series. I've published it into some books, and it is also available for free on my website, livesofgethra.com. That series uses player interaction of kind of like player choice and agency, and then we also use randomizers. So I can show those off here. It's a little bit more just random chaos rather than actual gameplay mechanics. So I can show you, for example, let's just take a look at one of the characters here. So we just read about Heirloom earlier today, and we were trying to figure out what happens when they're leaving Lantern Town on board a ship, and we found that the people on the ship were criminals, that they've been smuggling alcohol, and then we'll figure out if there was anything else about that. So it's kind of a combination of being written as a quality fiction piece from the author, myself, and it's also randomness and player agency of those who are involved with the project. So with the other side of things, we also are running the World of Gethra stream here on the Knaves Guild on Twitch. And so, actually I can update that now because we know which time period this is. 700 to 800. Why so? Oops. And so we're going to continue kind of using these randomizers, but you guys in the chat will be able to take on the role of characters within this setting. So if you want, I mean, right now we can figure out a character for you, Calor 7, and you would be able to have an impact on this world. It'll become part of the canon. So up to you if you want to. You can just stick around and watch as well. Yeah, no, let's do it. That's awesome. Let me just wrap up this little post here about the Orish impact, mid-sentence here, and then we can figure out what role you will take in the world of Gethra. Some allege magic was the cause, as the coincidental target of the Orish was the warring battlefield between Radrigar and the Orien. We were just writing up our first timeline entry about a major meteor impact that happened in Gethra. All right, so let's take a look at how that looks. There we go. I like the World Anvil little icon they added there as well for that impact. So we'll come back and add to the timeline more later. I also have been showing off, I use Aeon Timeline for a lot of my organization, but it's less of a public, like the wiki, anyone can just go there. Oh, nice. Glad you're enjoying reading the articles there. So what we did the other day actually on stream was we came up with King Asharo, a historical character during the 700 to 800 period. He left his home on the Great Isle and seized power in another city after living there for like 30 years. He kind of restored order where gangs had been ruling the city, but then shortly after that he fell ill. And so all of this came out of those kind of random lists that I showed. And this was one of the users. So I'll actually show you quickly on the page here. Well, actually, why don't I show you how you guys would get there? Is he was a world character, and he is King Asharo. And we actually note in there he's played by Gethra Citizen here on what's one of the usernames from our chat. If you don't want to be listed on the wiki, that's totally fine. It's up to you if you want to see all that. But yeah, that I just feel like it's a cool way to kind of keep you guys feeling involved, and you can show your friends or show whoever, like, here's this world and here's my little part of it, So here we go. Let's create a new character. Let's just start off with the timeline here. So I do have some names that I came up with that you guys can choose from if you want. Some kind of male leaning, some feminine leaning, but totally up to you guys if you want to use a name off of these lists, or just come up with a new one. So Caller 7, if you want to take on a role, you could choose one of these names. I just made this list because they, with the dialect of Gethra, I thought it would be kind of cool to have some options. So yeah, sweet. Yeah, so if you want to choose one of these names, we can use that as your character name, and then we'll find out who is this person within Gethra. Nayar. Good. Cool. So backspace that off. Then I'll give you an option. So we're going to have Nayar be a character in Gethra during this 700 to 800 year period. And generally with the world of Gethra, we want to keep these to being people who are important to history. So with Lives of Gethra, these are kind of just windows into the world. So with Lives of Gethra, we've started off on the podcast here on the stream reading about just a traveler. He may amount to something, he may not. We don't know yet. And it's random and based on player choice. So there's no way to predict that he will be important. But with the historical characters, we want to have people who are contributing something to that time period. Thanks for the follow, Bobicus. Also, Caller 7 earlier. I didn't mention the follow. Thanks, guys. It's awesome to see some people getting excited by this. So for Nayar, we can have, we need to figure out, well, how is he relevant to history that he would have, that we're going to write something about him. So how do you imagine Nayar? Do we want to come up with, is he a ruler? Is he a ship's captain or a general? Or is he just a random adventurer or lay person on the street and whatever who for some reason becomes very impactful, and we'll find out why. Perhaps he's a powerful merchant, or no worries. I'll just spitball some ideas. Could be a powerful merchant, or perhaps a religious leader or a religious person. We can also, if you like, we can also leave this up to the dice as well, so to speak.